Everyone, just decided to go ahead and show a little bit of, well, finally get some time to stream here, record, not stream, and I wanted to explain one of the game's hidden mechanics. So, okay, so in the game there is actually a handful of mechanics that are not explicitly explained, such as, well, so over here we have these different equipment items like bullets. Bullets increases the amount of shots in your main weapon. Reloader makes the weapon reload faster. Pretty standard stuff. I gotta go to a different character to explain this better, but you may notice Sandra has a beam rifle as a weapon that she can get for the Dom and the Zaku later in the game. However, she doesn't actually get these during the first cycle. She only has them available during the second cycle missions and simulator missions, and this is because they're actually hidden weapons based in a bonus mechanic, which is the kill count mechanic. A quick explanation, bullets and magazines, these are related to the unique function of reloading. Reloading actually has two numbers going on kind of in the background. The number of shots in your weapon, which you can count through the ammunition meter that the game has, and that's what bullets increases. It gives you extra shots in your main weapon. Magazines, however, all the weapons have unlimited ammunition by default. However, magazines are a secondary count that exists for all the weapons that makes it so that if you have to reload a bunch of times, it actually slows down some of your later reloads, essentially delaying the reload time and reload speed of later reloads of your weapon. And it kind of, so like one reload will be extremely long after like two reloads that go at normal speed. So back to the kill count mechanic, each character, we'll use a practice mission as an easy way to, this is a place to grind kills, by the way, as you don't really need to worry too much about it being too difficult. There's just 6 Zakus at the end of the airstrip, and you can take them out pretty easily. You're supposed to go around to the side, so we're going to go ahead and do that, but with a weapon like Roar's 90mm AR, you actually can just shoot them straight from the front and kill the enemies. But each unit has a kill count. It's not listed anywhere, but it affects the items and equipment that your characters have during the simulator missions and the second cycle of the game. And when you get your kill count for your various main characters up to 25 or 50, they unlock additional equipment. So, for instance, Sandra actually receives the beam rifle for the Zaku at 25 kills, but she receives the beam rifle for the Dom at 50 kills. Kills only affect the equipment of your actual team that you use during the main storyline of the game. So none of your bonus characters like Schmitzer actually have any kind of unique equipment. In fact, you'll see that Roar has actually received new support equipment, and this is because he's hit his 25 kill count. The kills you get on first cycle affect this as well. So he's got a better radar cloak, increased thermal and sonar boost, which is great. Significantly improved night scope, which is really great on the nighttime missions. But the main reason I wanted to point this out is because for first cycle missions, your equipment is the same. No matter what you do, no matter how you complete missions, your kill count doesn't really affect the items that you get during the first cycle. It only has an effect when you're playing through the second cycle missions and simulators, which means that, for the sake of, say, a speedrun, second cycle would be played on a save file that has unlocked the kill counts for all of the relevant characters, like Sandra.
Commence simulation.
Sandra's beam rifle is an extremely powerful weapon. It can kill a good number of enemies just under almost any circumstance, because the beam rifles are the strongest class of weapon in the game, and it can shoot through walls, which I think I've mentioned at some point in the past. But then you got characters like Chief Petty Officer Manning. We haven't actually used him yet at all in any of the speedrunning type videos, but he actually receives at 50 kills the Reloader 3, which combined with the 90mm AR essentially makes his assault rifle a rapid-fire weapon. Or at least gives it a firing rate that is absolutely insane compared to everything else. And as you can see, the assault rifle is fairly powerful. Most enemies that are in yellow or blue just die instantly, whereas enemies that are red tend to take a lot of damage, even if they guard against the attack. So it's just a really effective general weapon, and being able to fire it incredibly fast allows us to just kind of walk into a group of enemies and blow them all down in rapid succession. The only real weakness of his unit is he only really gets a Zaku 1, so I mean, he gets another unit. I think everybody gets 2 except for Matt, who only ever has a Zaku 1. But his other unit doesn't have the sniper rifle and really isn't all that useful. Yeah, so he gets a goof, but these are the only real weapons he gets for it, and they're not very good. The Gatling gun is usable, but not good. Whereas the AR and machine gun are pretty solid. He starts with Reloader too, which makes him incredibly useful for that anyway. And also bullets. So remember that typically speaking, just to show the effect that bullets has in a very obvious and dramatic fashion, typically speaking, the AR has to reload after every shot. Let this load up. I apologize, this is probably a fairly straightforward, somewhat boring video. I'm kind of grinding some kills for my second cycle runs. I don't know if I'll ever really do a 100% run of this game in terms of like a speed run, but I might show off some strategies for S ranking missions that are kind of tough. I don't know. It's hit and miss. I had a memory card that had everything unlocked in it at one point, and I don't know where it went. I think that it was also the memory card that had a lot of my Nocturne data on it, and that sucks to lose that too. Hey look! Bullets give the AR an extra shot. Imagine being able to fire that fast, but all the time. That's what the Reloader 3 essentially does.
End simulation.
It's insane. And it's well worth grinding for, but it's going to take a little while to get there, so I don't want to make you all sit through that. I will point out that I have unlocked some additional characters, so... Which one should I do for that? I mean, these are obvious options for that, but... I think Iron Spear requires you to use just one unit. I don't remember if this is the one where you have to be completely stealthed. Like, there's a couple of missions where if you get detected, you automatically fail. Iron Spear, I'm quite sure, is the... it's the 8th MS team unit, or the 8th MS team mission. You'll notice I have Shar and Garma unlocked already. You get them for S ranking missions, Practice and Practice 2, respectively. Shar is quite powerful. Now, one would think the obvious answer for this would be to bring Goof, but it's actually not really a great choice. This is the beam effect on armor machines. This is an odd thing. Honestly, the A armor is generally better because it just increases your HP. Let's see if we can get an S rank with Schmitzer here. Yeah, this mission has only one unit allowed to be used in it. For this one, we're mostly dealing with gun tanks. There are some Gundam ground types, GM ground types. And there is actually hidden in this mission, I say hidden, but it's just a weird, unique decision thing they decided to make with it. They added in the GM head. It's not designated with anything unique in terms of its, walk between the buildings here. No, I'm off. This. Alright, takes care of one. The cloak means that when I'm in the woods, if I'm standing still, you probably shouldn't see me. And walked between the buildings to ignore my attack. In fact, I don't have sonars in this stage, so my movement doesn't really get picked up. There we go. Let's hear that one. Let's go this way. I'm annoyed that I had a red designation there, but... there's actually something of a damage delay with certain attacks. Oops. I guess Sanders got me or something there. And then Schmitzer berates me for being a terrible pilot, even though it was his fault. Okay, it's not really his fault, but you know what I mean. We'll give this another try, and then we'll go ahead and just do a couple more runs. Some of these simulator missions can be very, very difficult to complete. Finishing this one isn't too terribly bad. It's... Alright, got that. Finishing this one isn't too terribly difficult. It's getting the S rank that's hard. You want to get as many blue kills as possible, so routing through the stage is really key when you're doing it for, like, you know, after a while you get used to kind of just memorizing these stages, but it's been so long. Like I can stand in this spot of trees, and if they're not using the radar, if they're not using the thermal, they won't detect me. Delay, and take that one out. If it hits... Okay, there we go. I should point out there actually is a weapon spread on the rifle, if you didn't actually notice it earlier, but like, there's so many little tiny bits of RNG in this game in terms of things like weapon spread, and units have like armor bars and whatnot once they've detected you, and it's just like that little orange glowy line underneath the white line there, that's a shield bar. If the unit has a shield, it can take additional shots from the front when it detects you. When it doesn't detect you, it doesn't actually do anything significant in terms of... Well, point is, it only really matters if it notices you. Alright, there's that down. The other thing here is you want to leave at least one gun tank for the end. So right now we've got the... I don't want to travel between there right at the moment. Wait, come on, got it. It's all about getting the good angles on these things. Kind of knows I'm here, but I don't know exactly where I am. So. Alright. He was in trees, so I don't think he could actually detect me due to the thermal cloak. He had to see me if he wanted to notice where I was. So just to point out, the thermal cloak's a little broken on this stage. Now that GM could theoretically see me under different circumstances. The ones with the radar line for the sensors, those, as far as I can tell, are the GM heads. Whereas the ones that only detect thermal are not. And... you can't shoot over a building if there's no, like... if it doesn't discern that you have a clear line of sight, you just can't shoot somebody. Let me see if I'm right in my theory. This should be a GM head. Oh, no, that's just a standard GM. There we go. That should be everything down. Let's see if we get congratulated.
End simulation.
You did quite well. The simulation results are more than satisfactory. But please
there's
don't
an S
become
rank.
too content. Keep pushing yourself to...
If she says you did quite well, the simulation results are more than satisfactory, that's an S rank. She actually gives a more positive sounding comment when you get an A rank than when you get an S rank. Because she does the whole, you know, don't become too content, keep pushing yourselves line, but only when you get the S rank. So, that's it for this video. I'll be doing an actual run tonight as well, so thanks for watching.